Shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Waharaka Kodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I honor to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Now, this is the book of Acts 20 and 27. It says, "For I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of God." Now, beginning with the apostles and elders and their elders before them, right? We got to bring out the prophecies. Now, the prophecies include our salvation and deliverance, but it also includes vengeance and destruction on our enemies, right? And we can't cut that out. That has to be proclaimed. That's part of the faith. In fact, let's get Revelations 13 and 9. It says, "If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints." So this forms part of our faith. These are part of the things that we look for our enemies to have a recompense. However, these are things that we look towards our King, our Messiah, to fulfill. In regards to as it is now, we are only to proclaim the prophecy. Right now, our job, not what we focus on, is not to take vengeance upon our enemies, to take up arms and seek out the enemy and destroy them. That is not what we do. What we do is we edify our people through this ministry. We teach them, right? We declare unto them the full counsel of the Lord. All right, and you know I love to pull out Ephesians 4. Right, this is our purpose. Right, that's why we're not buying tanks and militarizing ourselves. Buying missiles, nukes, and all sorts. No, we buy Bibles, man. Right, Ephesians 4. And I would say this: you got certain Israelite groups who practice gun ownership, which is not illegal in America. Neither is it illegal in the scriptures, but they practice it. We frown upon it because we don't believe it is necessary spiritually to be portraying yourself in such a way. All right, to be out there on camera and involving guns in any way, shape, or form with the ministry, even if you claim it's for self-defense. It's not necessary. It's never been deemed necessary for us to have guns on our person to go out there and teach this word. So we frown upon it. All right. However, those Israelite camps are still not militarizing in order to fight a war of vengeance. Because you can't fight a war of vengeance with guns, with a few guns. It doesn't work like that. In order to fight a war, you need a whole heap of guns, big ass guns, crazy amount of ammunition, missiles, drones, navy, planes, all sorts. That is simply not what we do. So even those other Israelite camps that might buy some guns and go to the gun range, I would not accuse them of forming an actual military to attack Edomites or to take vengeance for themselves. I wouldn't really accuse them of that, right? Unless I see them say and do that or teach that, which even they don't teach, to go out there and just start shooting Edomites and all sorts. Neither do we have a history of doing anything of the sort. All right. So in terms of a real and present physical threat, the Hebrew Israelites don't represent that. We're not known for killing and battery and all this stuff. We're not known for that. What we are known for is bringing out these scriptures and doing some shouting. That's about it. Yeah. The ministry. Even though they would like to paint us, people like Vocab alone would like to paint us as some violent threat. He said we're the worst group on the planet Earth. That's crazy. There's groups, there's cartels out there, there's drug cartels, there's man out there that's murdering, killing, and stealing on a daily basis, trafficking children, all sorts. But we're the worst, right? I wonder why that is. Right? Ephesians 4:10, he that descendeth is the same also that ascendeth up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers. Right? Which is what we are. This is our roles for the perfecting of the saints. All right. So we're here for the perfecting of the saints, to teach this word, to edify through the Spirit, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach. That is our purpose, right? To preach the word, to be instant in season and out of season. And we have never told anyone to militarize themselves and attack Esau. You cannot find a video where we've instructed anyone to militarize themselves, get themselves on weapons of mass destruction, right? And destroy Esau. We speak about World War III, speak about the destruction that's coming to Esau, all right, because it's prophecy. But what we don't do is tell our people to go out there and commit acts of violence, all right, and to take vengeance for themselves. We don't do that, right? 2 Timothy 4, and even when these police or whoever shoots down a Jake, we don't come out and tell Jake, yeah, Jake, go shoot up some cops. We don't do none of that. All right. 2 Timothy 4:2, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all suffering, and long suffering and doctrine. That's all we do. Right? Now, even though that's the case, Vocab Malone will describe us as an invasion, which likens us basically to pests or even a military, which is even a greater threat. Right? He's lusting to depict us as some kind of threat, as an insane, savages. Same thing they did with the Native American. It's just what they always do, to depict us as monsters. However, at the same time, you got a group of people calling
each one of us
Jewish, who ain't waiting for no Messiah. These guys are going around killing by the tens of thousands, right? And trying to justify it through the scriptures, saying anyone that hates them is Amalek and needs to be annihilated. And they actually have a military to do it. They got nuclear weapons, they got crazy missiles, bunker busters. These men are a real and present danger to humanity. They're a real and present danger. They're not prophesying, they're actually doing it. And Vocab ain't got nothing to say. So let's hear this JOO, right?
Each one of us has to fight and destroy Amalek.
He's saying each one of us has to fight and destroy Amalek. This is what this guy's teaching. Now, where have we said that the Israelites, we need to go out there now and fight and destroy? What? We're telling man to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. These men are actually on smoke right now, today. And they go join up in the IDF and go out there and smoke people for real. Right now, as we speak. Babies, everything.
Right? So, with that being said, we ask this question: where is Amalek today? because of the what do you call it, the intermarriage and disbursement of tribal people from the Mideast to all over Europe and Africa, you would really have to.
So that means the Edomites ain't been done away with. So why is vocab teaching that the Edomites have been done away with?
See it in the character, not within the culture, if that makes sense, or within the nationality of a person. Amalek is not necessarily a nationality today.
So what he's trying to say is that you can't pick one particular nation of people and say, okay, that's the Amalekite, which he's wrong on that, because he is the Amalekite. Him, the J-O-O, they're the Amalekites. But you know, by his reasoning, you can't pick it, right? Because they're scattered everywhere, you know, all this business, right? Okay.
Amalek is an attitude of people.
So how do you know who Amalekite is? Based upon their attitude. Now, what attitude is that?
Example, there are people in cultures today, and it goes across all nationalities, but there are people in each one of the cultures that just hate Jews.
So if if you hate Jews, you're an Amalekite, and they need to go out and destroy you. And these men have the military and the means to do it, and they are doing it. But we're crazy, yeah.
Just hate Jews. Now they come up with all kinds of excuses.
The all kinds of excuses is when he's trying to sweep under the rug all the wickedness that his people do in the earth. That's his way of, well, that's just excuses. There's really no reason to hate them. You know, hey man, that's how Satan operates, man. They'll do a whole bunch of madness, and it's like, yeah, well, you know, we kind of destroyed your people. We're kind of like robbing you blind, but that's just an excuse to hate us, you know? The devils, man.
But they hate Jews, and it's often baseless.
Often, um, that's what he's trying by using the word often. He knows that they got people do have legitimate reasons to hate them, but it's like, but often it's baseless. Whatever, man. Whatever. The whole world sees these devils for who they are. The whole world is waking up to these men and what they're on.
Because here's a prime example. Saudi Arabia has not directly attacked, but uses indirectly methods to constantly bring trouble to the Jewish people in Israel. Yet without Israel's technology, they couldn't bring one drop of oil out of the ground.
Because of course, if they didn't get, you're the only one that can supply technology to take oil out of the ground, and no one else can do that. This is foolish.
Saudi Arabia has no national resources outside of oil.
They got sand. That's a resource.
They don't produce cars. They don't produce food. They don't produce trucks. They import everything from all over the world. And they have plenty of money to do it because they have the oil to do it. And yet the whole time, they continue to support this idea that Israel should not have its own state.
These guys are insane. The issue was never Israel having their own state, right? Because there's plenty of states that have been formed over the years. The issue is that they went in and tried to make an ethno dominant state, and the only way they could do that was by expelling the Palestinians that already lived there. Because if they had just gone over there and said, okay, we're going to form this country and call it the State of Israel, and we are going to be citizens in that country, being a democracy, then they know they would be outvoted by the Palestinians. This is why they had to expel them. All right, so that they could be the main political bloc and have control over the state of Israel. Now, if you go to the UK, everyone's a citizen, right? Everyone can vote. America, everyone's a citizen, everyone can vote. Right? In the Israeli state, they're trying to form a state that based upon ethnicity, basically they're like first class citizens. And that's what the problem was. which Esau is supposed to be against ethno states. This is the hypocrisy. Esau's supposed to be against racism. They're supposed to be about equality, right? Everybody's the same. But here it is, the state of Israel is the only state that's like, no, everyone ain't the same. And so we're first class citizens. This place belongs to us by ethnicity. Showing you the hypocrisy that they're allowed to do that when Esau claims he's against that. All right? Because there's no reason why they couldn't just had a country named Israel, and you just have citizens, just like you do have Palestinians that live in Israel today. They could have just had that, and they could have went over there and bought land or rented or did whatever they needed to do to live there. But instead, they chose violence. All right, and that's what people have a problem with. They had a problem with the violence that you committed. All right, because you increased that which was not yours, and that's in the book of Habakkuk. That's what they got a problem with.
Yet they import all of Israel's products that help them to prosper. Do you see the odd nature of this? Amalek is.
They're saying the Saudi Arabians is Amalek.
Almost.
Now is vocab gonna come up against all this? Because what he's basically saying is they need to fight and they need to annihilate the Saudi Arabians.
Self-defeating. He destroys himself. He doesn't realize it. His baseless hatred to.
Like there's no reason. There's absolutely no reason why the people of that region would have to hate the so-called Jew. There's no reason. They were just chilling, man, doing their own thing. They never troubled nobody. So there's no reason. There can't be possibly any reason why anyone would hate them, right? It's gaslighting to the highest degree.
Well, the Jewish people kills himself. And as soon as Amalek figures that out, maybe he'll change. But the problem is, as it will say later on, there is only one effective response to this Amalek. And that is annihilation. Each one.
All right, so you've seen it there. This guy's basically preaching that anyone that hates the Jews, they need to actively go out and annihilate them. And these people have a military. These people have nuclear weapons. They're actively now trying to annihilate the people in Gaza and all sorts, Lebanon, all over the place. And vocab Malone don't give a damn. Where's all this love thy neighbor talk? You know what I'm saying? Where is it? You understand? And these men are using the Bible. Why is he not coming up against them? He believes in replacement theology, theology, right? Supersessionism. So why isn't he coming up against their claim to have a Jewish state? Why isn't he coming up against Zionism? Because replacement theology and Zionism are opposing doctrines. So why is he coming up against us all the time, but not against these people who are actually doing the things that he has a problem with us for? He has a problem with us prophesying the destruction of our enemies. These men are not prophesying the destruction of the enemies. These men are actively doing it. But he don't have a problem with them. And therein is the hypocrisy of Esau, the gaslighting, and that's what he lives by. Deceit, manipulation, lies, gaslighting, man. Hypocrisy, acting like you stand for a particular value that you really don't stand for. And that's why America's going to be destroyed, because right now you got the Christians, they're back in power, they're feeling themselves, and they're standing up in all righteousness. Well, except for the fact that the Christians have never been righteousness, because under the influence of the so-called white Christian, America has always done the most heinous crimes known to mankind. Yet they stand up like they got these superior values and they're all righteous because they're hypocrites. They're actors. If the Christian in America was so civilized and so holier than thou, then the Native American Indians would still possess their land. The so-called Negroes would never have been brutalized through hardcore slavery onto this day, to the point where you've got these crazy Negroes running around bugged out their damn mind because of what America's done to them. Because the Negro is not a product of love. He's a product of hate, of abuse. Just like when you see a child, you get a lot of people you see running around. There's a direct correlation between child abuse and the people you see in prisons or people you see bugged out on drugs or doing, because if you abuse someone, it bugs them out. Jake is basically an abused child. They've abused Jake in America, abused and undermined Jake. And that's why you see these crazy ass Jakes running around the place, crazy ass nigger women. These are a product of America. These are a product of Christian America. These are not a people that have been loved and edified and taken care of. These are abused people. All right? But it's okay. We know, we already told you what Vocab Malone is. He's nothing more than a so-called white supremacist. And the reason he don't come up against the JOO is because the JOO, regardless of what they want to say, are seen and perceived as so-called white people, because they are. In fact, I had a video on that. Who did they corner on that? I think they cornered what's his name? Ben Shapiro, and he's like, yeah, we're white. Because they are. Right? The so-called Jew are so-called white people because they're Edomites. They're just a particular tribe of Edom. All right? They're Edomites, man. And they do flourish under the system of so-called white supremacy. They always have. They've been right there hand in hand. But they always try and make it look like they're being victimized. But they haven't been victimized at all. They've been the head all this time. They haven't been the tail. They haven't been oppressed. That's a lie. But the Rothschilds, they've been oppressed? Hell out of here. Anyway, their triumphing is short, man, because it's about to come to an end. It's about to get wrapped up anyway. It's Job 20:5, that the triumphing of the wicked is short and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. These people are nothing but hypocrites. They're actors. They like to act as if they're righteous, act as if they have values, when really they don't. Vocab just hates us, and that's the bottom line. We are not bowing to him, right? And doing what he wants and thinking what he wants. And so he hates us. Because when the JOO is doing worse than what we're doing, he's silent. Why? Because he doesn't hate them. Of course he doesn't hate them. He's probably one of them. Truth be told. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.